Hey, happy Friday, y'all. So I think we'll have some people hop over soon. So we're talking about training today. It's been a little while since we talked about training. We talked, I think last time was back in April, the beginning of April or something like that. So a couple things have happened, pandemic and all these other things. And so with that, I've seen some changes when it comes to some of our training opportunities. So between that and a couple questions I received over the last week or two, I'm like, let's just talk a little bit about training today. So let's hop over. I have, as usual, let me share my screen so we can get to our slides. There we go. Can y'all see that? Perfect. Okay. Awesome. All right, so we're a little bit behind. Sorry, technical difficulties. Supposedly, and normally when I sign into Zoom, I can connect very easily through Facebook and it'll connect it and do it live. So that connection didn't work today. So we tried. We will go forward with Zoom and carry on and have a great chat, and hopefully folks will join us if they can. So here is our slide. Happy Friday. Today we're talking about training in our chat. I think everybody's been here before, but just so in case others hop on, our chat is a time for us where, you know, come one, come all. It's open to everybody. This is our safe space and open space where we just meet to share, to collaborate, to give information, to receive information, and just to make sure that we know that we're connected and we're part of a community. And we're empowered, especially in this pandemic. There's no need for us to not show up as birth workers and as doulas, and there's so much that we can offer. So this chat is for everybody and anyone. So welcome, and please just share. Let others know if this is helpful for you. You found some value in it. Let other birth workers know. Our community has expanded, and it started off with doulas for the most part, but now we have a lot of doulas. But we also have some midwives, assistants, lactation consultants, and others, pelvic floor workers, therapists, and all sorts of things. So I love it because we're all connected. We're all trying to do our best to help birthing persons and their families be well, right, at the end of the day. So anybody in those areas, if you think it's helpful, share it with them. So welcome. If it's your first time, please let us know in the chat. But either way, go ahead and share where you are from, where do you live, and what kind of doula you are. Aspiring doula, new doula, seasoned doula, let us know. This is a space for anywhere along the journey, but it's helpful to know so that way as we do other chats and as we have the discussion today, depending on who's here and what we need to guide, depending upon making sure everybody has the same understanding and foundation for everything that we're talking about. Karen, that's right, you're from Tennessee. Welcome. And Jerry. Oh, wow. I think you're our first from Saudi Arabia. We have people from Switzerland and Germany and all over, but you're our first, yay, from Saudi Arabia. How phenomenal. Oh, I would love to know a little bit more about your organization too. Let's talk if you can later. Oh, Karen, so good topic. So you said you want to talk about TENS training. Okay, good topic. Excellent. And as we go through this, so the chat function is just for us to connect, ask questions as we go through. You can certainly take yourself off of mute also if that's helpful, if you want to do it that way. But at other trainings that you're interested in or thoughts you have about the trainings as we go through today, let's use the chat function. Absolutely. Awesome. So welcome everybody. So let's get right into it. It's about 12 minutes after, and I like to honor our time and our space. So we're together for a little less than an hour. I could talk all day, but I know we have other things to do. So I try to make sure we honor our space and be together for about an hour. And so Aisha, I think, is this your first time? This is your first time, and just for others, just to make sure everybody knows who I am. I'm Bianca Marie, and I'm just your host. That's it. I just host this platform for us, this gathering for us. My background is public health and women's studies. I have been in this world doing that type of work for over 17 years, from everything from the federal level, the state level, and the local level, as well as teaching at the university. So my background specifically, though, is healthcare administration and management, focusing on women's health. 3 degrees, working on my 4th degree, and it now a doctorate in trauma around birth. And so everything that I do, I'm coming from 2 lenses, 2 places: my professional experience from running multi-billion-dollar programs, to my passion experience, my personal experience, which is my story, understanding what health disparities were, and understanding the nuances and the different components of public health at a very, very young age, with seeing and viewing my grandmothers and the hardships that they had and the experiences that they had, and how that colored my understanding as to equality when it comes to healthcare, and what that means, what that looks like, and how it can have a trickling effect or a rippling down effect to the family. And so for that reason is why I am on the path that I am on, and been in it for over 17 years, and I love it, absolutely love it. And been a doula before I even knew what the word doula was. So I'm a full spectrum doula, newborn care specialist, coach, and strategist, and some other titles there, but most important is I'm also a mom. That's my love, my passion. So that is me. All I did was, y'all, before this pandemic started, well, in the beginning of it, a whole bunch of doulas in our community network kept saying, Bianca, we don't know what we're going to do. Are we still going into hospitals? What do we do? What kind of paperwork do we show up with? All these types of questions. And so this community came out of that need of just making sure that we stay connected, that we make sure that we know what's available to us, and that we know that we can reach out to another doula that can help us in another way. So if one of us are uplifted, we all are uplifted. So that's the purpose of this community. And every single Friday at noon, we either do a live chat or a video is posted on whatever topic. And so I encourage you to make sure you join the Facebook group. Normally, the Facebook group works live and we can connect, and we do the Zoom at the same time. But, you know, sometimes we just go with the flow. Just like birth, we just go with the flow. We have a birth plan, but we go with the flow. So if we don't have access to the Facebook group, then also on YouTube, I'm going to start posting some of the videos there. So then that way people can watch it at any time a little bit later. All of that to say, y'all, we're talking about training today. So let's get in. Hey, Jasmine, welcome, welcome. So before we get into some nuts and bolts about training, I just wanted to put a reminder out there, because y'all know I do work with a lot of new doulas, and you know, I've had a wonderful doula come with a whole list of different trainings that she wanted to do, and I think it's great. But before we go to the trainings, I just want to make sure that everybody is pausing just to make sure they do a check-in and say, you know, what is it that you want your career to look like? What is it that you want as your career? And then your training should help support that, right? So just because, you know, a training may look good and work for Karen doesn't mean that that's going to be the same training that looks good and works for Jerry or Jasmine, and vice versa, right? So we are all diverse. We come to the world and to the position of being a doula from different walks of life, different experiences, different backgrounds. And so also we work with different types of clients. And so one training can work for another, doesn't necessarily mean it works for me, right? So with that, just, you know, want to make sure that know that with our career, especially in this world we have right now, we can do whatever we want to do within our scope of practice, right? And so a doula 20 years ago may have had more limitations than we have today. There's a lot more diversity with our options, and our clients are totally more diverse and more aware of and more open, I think, to the work that we do as doulas as well. And so with that, figure out what kind of career we want, especially for the new doulas. Like, you don't have to limit yourself to just one area. And as a doula, you can evolve, right? So you can start off and say, I'm just going to do birth or labor at first, but then you may decide you want to do adoption a little later. You want to do postpartum, or, you know, or not. It totally can fluctuate, but you make it your career, and we're empowered to be able to have such diversity within our career. So I would just encourage you to just think about do a little roadmap for yourself. Think about, where do you want to go? Like right now as a doula, or a birth worker right now, the pandemic type of clients you have, 3 years, 5 years, 3 months, 5 months from now, what is it that you want it to look like? And then figure out from there, what are some gaps when it comes to your skills or your knowledge? And then that's the training that you should seek, right? Instead of just finding trainings, figure out what trainings fits for your goals, okay? So that's just one of the coaching sessions I had this week. So I just wanted to just make sure everybody was just thinking about that, you know, think about where are you trying to go, and then let training be a asset to you in getting there. I think somebody had a question. Did I see hold on 1 second. Let me scoot it over and see if I can get to the chat. We got a couple more people join us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry about the Facebook issue, but hopefully folks can join us this way. All right. Jerry from Long Island. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I love it. Yeah, Jerry, you're working on becoming a birth photographer. That's phenomenal. That's so cool. So that's what that's a perfect example, Jerry, of what I'm talking about, is that we're empowered to do all sorts of things with our career now. So when we think about the trainings, that's not, you know, we don't have to just think about the typical or traditional trainings. Think about what you love, what your passion, what skills you have, you know, what is it that you like to offer to your clients, and then think about the trainings that correlate with that. Jasmine. Oh, Iowa. Cool. Jasmine's from Iowa, y'all. Jerry, for the first time. Oh, thanks, Jerry. You're so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate you jumping on. Awesome. Okay, so that's it. That was just my plug. Think about the roadmap first before you think about your training. That's it. And I'll start harping on that. But I do think that's just very important for us just to remember that, you know, trainings should help fill a gap that we have in our skills. So let's get into it, talking about the different trainings. So when we're selecting the training, this is another common question I get often. We've seen it within our community. It's kind of like, there's so many different training opportunities out there. Which one did I do? Which one should I go for? And a couple different criteria, and then I'll open it up for everybody to share what kind of criteria you're thinking about, but certainly career goals, right? What is it that you want to do with your career as a doula, as a birth worker, right? Whether you're doing it as a hobby, you know, you're looking for one client a year, or whether you're doing it, do it part-time, whether you want to do it full-time, what are your goals, right? So that should be a criteria. And then with whatever training, so the curriculum, of course, would align to your goals, right? So that's one. Then the second is what's convenient for you, right? What's accessible for you, right? So convenient, if it's a training that's offering in person and you're able to do in person, is it local to you? Is that convenient for you? The hours, the time, some trainings, you know, are blended. So you have to do some in person, some online. So are the in-person times work for your schedule? Literally, what's convenient and accessible for you should be a criteria, right? And then also cost, budget. I don't want anyone to be thinking that the amount of the training or the cost of the training is the equivalent to the value of the training. That's not necessarily true, right? So what cost budget do you have for the training? There's some training out there within that budget. You just may have to find it. You may have to ask about scholarships. You may have to do a little research and digging, but know what you're comfortable with, your cost and your budget, and then find the training that is suitable for that. You don't have to, you may have to stretch or whatever, but I wouldn't suggest going into debt for training because there's so many different training opportunities out there and more pop up every day. And so I would just encourage you to be very clear and succinct as to what kind of training you want, and then find your budget and then find the opportunity that fits within there. One organization or two organizations that may be well-known or national, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best training organization for you. And so the dollar amount, that dollar value could be very different, right? And then the fourth is something that's one of my personal ones, and I will just share, and you all letting me know if that's something that relates to you as well, is continued professional development. Anytime I go for a training, I am one that I like to have access to the training after the class. That's one of my criteria, right? My personal criteria, because if I do a training today, I may not have a client that I need to refresh on some of that training, and for 6 months or a year from now. And so my personal preference is that when I do a training, I like to have access to that course for a lifetime. That's my preference, right? But then there's some trainings out there that you only have access for that year or 2 years or whatever the case may be. And so I like the continued professional development. I like to be able to continue to access it. And I like to be able to continue to ask questions to whomever is offering that training or that organization. I believe professional development is ongoing. And so that's one of my personal criteria that I have when I'm selecting the training. And so these 4 are just some criteria that I'll just throw out there for you to think about when you're considering the training. You know, is it accessible to you? Is it convenient for you? You know, is the curriculum, make sure you can see that curriculum of the training course. Is that curriculum, does it help you? Will it fill in those gaps you're looking for to help you with your career roadmap? And then does it have that professional development aspect that you're looking for, whatever that aspect may be? Again, for me, I like to be able to have access to that training for a lifetime, as well as updates. For example, the trainings that we offer through Blooming Mama Wellness Institute, anytime we do the training, and then pretty much every quarter, we at least review the curriculum and then certainly update it often and within the year. Then anybody who did a training with me last year, they still have access to the updated version, you know, updated stats, updated changes because of the pandemic. Those are the types of things that I appreciate. And so that's one of my criteria. So I'll ask though for everybody, you know, is there any other criteria? Those are just 4 that I've mentioned that I believe in, but put in the chat is there anything else that you think we need to be looking for when we're considering training? And again, training for Francesca may not be the best training for me. It may be the best training for Karen. So, you know, don't think that it's not a one size fits all, and just want to put that reminder out there. But yeah, in the chat, let me know if there's any other criteria you think we need to be adding or thinking about in addition to those 4. Plug away, let us know. So while you're doing that, if you're thinking of any, when you're making that selection, at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that the training empowers you in whatever you're looking for, in the knowledge, the skills, and the confidence. And so at the end of the day, when you finish that training, whether it's a self-directed one or, you know, or on-demand training or in-person training, at the end of the day, you know that you have achieved or gained what you're looking for. That's what you really want. And then in-person versus online. Now, this is something I wanted to highlight just because of where we are with the pandemic. Things have changed. There's a lot of trainings that used to only be in person, and now they're either offering it blended or some are just 100% online. So know that if you looked into a training in the past, look it up now. The organizations are changing all the time. They're changing how the format and the criteria and the timing and even the cost of some of the trainings. And so figure out what's your preference, and then, you know, look it up to make sure that it's, see if the opportunity is there for you now that may have not been there in the past. And lastly, I wanted to just mention about selection of the trainings around culture, right? Especially in our world and our environment that we are in right now. We've been in a diverse world, but I think as birth workers, it's becoming more aware or more prominent for folks now within the birth worker world to realize the diversity that we have with our clients, and that as birth workers, the onus is on us to be prepared, to be aware culturally and culturally sensitive, and know what we need to know in order to best serve a diverse set of clients. And so that is also another aspect that I would look for with whatever organization that I'm getting training from, is to make sure that they understand the cultural lens and whatever the curriculum that they're teaching, and make sure that you're being best prepared and empowered to be able to help serve a diverse set of clients. So those are just some of the tidbits. So let's talk about some training opportunities. There is a one sheet that I will add to Facebook, and I don't know, I'll try to add it into the Zoom, into the chat, upload it that way. If not, shoot me an email and I can send it to you that way as well. So multiple ways, but it's just a one sheet. If you need to get a copy of it, you can certainly jot down as we talk now. But if you need to get a copy of it, I will try to upload it so you can just download it within Zoom, and I'll put it in Facebook as well. So here are just some training opportunities, right? Some different areas, just putting on our thinking cap, kind of say, okay, outside of the box, maybe some things that are aligned to our work as birth workers and training. So these are some that were presented before, but just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of them now, because we have a lot of new people in our community. One is car seat certification. This is a big one because, and this month is actually safety month as well. So just going along with it, knowing that car seats are important, certainly for many reasons, but as doulas, if you offer the service of helping set up and prepare for the newborn, for that baby, for example, doing a nursery and things like that. If you go get certified, then this certainly is complimentary to that. So you can also help with that car seat. Right now, you can go to a fire station and to other different venues and make sure the car seat is safe and it is installed properly. But if you decide that you want to get that certification, that certainly can help, all right, with your diversity. CPR, this is one that they have some online, but then there's usually a blended portion where you have to do a portion on in person as well. So if they have changed recently because of the pandemic to offer a portion online, before it was totally just in person. So look it up if you're interested in CPR as well. That it can be a nice add to your suite of services that you can offer. Placenta encapsulation, definitely an option. You can do it into pills and some other ways like that. That has a lot of different components to it. So you just want to make sure that you have a safe space, certainly, but a space that's designated to do that type of work in your home or wherever you are, right? And you have the right supplies. Nutrition, definitely helpful. Especially if, I always speak about one of our doulas in our community who was a chef and a caterer, and so she loves nutrition, and so she's connected it, right? She's connected it, so she does meal planning and meal prep and does dishes for families when they're in the postpartum phase, and so that's one of her, it's actually a very profitable part of her doula practice. So if you like nutrition, if you're cooking or anything of that nature, then that can be something that you can offer. And it doesn't have to be things in person, right? So again, think about what your skills are, think about what your career goals and path is, that journey that you're looking to have, and then figure out how to incorporate it. It could be something as simple as you doing a series of videos about nutrition and offering that to your clients, right? That can be something that you can offer, as a bonus to one of your package, or it could be something that they pay for, or or a combination thereof. So just think outside of the box with that. Nutrition coach, that goes along with that. That's an option. And these are just some recommendations. I'm not saying that this is the only vendor or the best vendor. I'm just saying this is just based upon my research as to what's available. So if with everything and anything, make sure you do your due diligence. And I would reach out to the vendors if you have questions to make sure you have the right information, the latest information, because in our world with this pandemic, things change by the moment. So make sure you have the latest information and that you can make the wise decision for yourself. Midwife assistant, quite a few of us in the group now that are on the midwife assistant journey, and that may be a wonderful one for you. If you want to be a doula and a midwife assistant or vice versa, that can definitely be an option for you. Some of those that I've seen, a lot of them are blended. So just make note of that. And depending on what the depending on the organization that's offering it, they may have different ways of offering the training. And so don't give up. So I say don't give up. If you're really interested in the training, keep looking, keep talking, do a post or two in the different Facebook groups and say, hey, anybody know of a training in this area or this type of topic? People have resources out there. So just may take a little while to tap into it, to find it, but don't give up. Take ownership of your career, because you can definitely do anything you would like to. Casting, those are so beautiful when they're done. Breast and belly casting, you can definitely do that. I have a lot of doulas who are artsy and love arts and crafts and those types of things, and so that's a natural evolution for some. Yoga teacher, I'm actually finishing up my certification and doing that, and I love that. It is just, yeah, it's phenomenal. I can't wait to be able to do that. Especially prenatal yoga, baby massage specialist, lactation, right? Childbirth educator. There's a lot of different options out there. So just wanted to mention that, just so we talk about the training. Know, one, again, figure out what's your journey, what you're looking to do, figure out what's kind of gaps you may have, and then find a training that can help you fill those gaps. And you will see from what I've just shared, the price point ranges, right? From small amount of money to definitely a larger investment, right? And so just think of that, know what your cost and your budget is, and then don't be afraid to reach out to the organizations. Sometimes they have different scholarships, they have different discounts. You know, I've seen other doulas be sponsored for trainings from their clients. For example, a client wanted her placenta done, you know, encapsulated, and the doula didn't have that skill set just yet. And so the client sponsored her to do the training, right? And so you can figure out what works best for you to make it affordable, okay? So those are some options, and like I said, I'll make sure that this is posted. And if you have issues or trouble grabbing it, just shoot me an email. Just shoot me an email, okay? bloomingmamaswellness@gmail.com, and I will send it out to you. All right, so I'm gonna just take a pause now. Did I miss anything in the chat box? Just wanna make sure I didn't miss any comments, or are there any other trainings that you all think are cool to mention? Like Jerry's doing the birth one, which I think is totally cool, totally cool. Let's see. Karen, you're saying if your credentialing organization, yeah, that's a good point, Karen. So whatever trainings that you do, depending on what you're trying to, whatever kind of need you're trying to fulfill, right? So if you want to do a training that's going to help you with continuing education credits or something like that, check with whoever you got certified, right, as a doula, to make sure that it's a vendor and a training that they're going to accept, if that's what you're looking for. Absolutely. Aisha, yep, personal ethics and values, a big one. Definitely you want to make sure that it's aligned to it. Jerry, if you need to renew, get your CPR certification, you took it online through the Red Cross. Yeah. Yeah, through the American Red Cross. Yeah. Aisha, you teach CPR and first aid. Oh, so you're sending the Doulas. Yeah, so I think, and one of our other members of the community, Tasha, Posh Doula Services, and she also is doing CPR as well, offering CPR training also in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area in a blended format. So yeah, like I said, whatever training you want, there's a opportunity out there. You just have to find it. Absolutely. So Karen, I don't know about any TENS training personally, but we can definitely put that in the chat and also in the Facebook group, see if anybody is familiar with that. I do use TENS machines, but I didn't do any formal training. So just between YouTube and learning on the job. But I do think that may be cool to find out some formal training with that. But I'm not familiar of any. So if anybody else is, please do share. Positive parenting. Oh, some awesome other areas. Water birth, yeah, positive parenting. You know, that's a really big one, Aisha, that you mentioned. So with the positive parenting, I think a lot of times with traditionally, let me just classify that. Traditionally, when we're talking to birth workers and doulas, we always think about, you know, their first few weeks, the first few months of the year, right? But I do a lot of work now with clients a year plus, right? So the baby is a year and older, and that positive parenting and you know, from discipline and sleep, even sleep training, sleep consulting, there's a lot of other different areas or segments of that transition, you know, from the toddler years that we are very prone to be able to assist with if we like to, right? And so that is actually a really big area. I've gotten quite a few inquiries from different clients about helping that year plus phase, in that toddler phase. And there's definitely a lot that we can do in there. Definitely a lot. I love the ideas. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Jasmine, thanks for sharing. Okay, so you shared about the TENS training. Awesome. Okay, Karen, see? That's what we're for. I love our community. Oh, Sade, Reiki. Yes, I love Reiki. So I do practice Reiki myself. I love Reiki. I think that does help if the family is open to different energy modalities. And maybe we'll talk about that. We'll put that on our list. And aromatherapy. Oh, awesome. So Karen, yay, wonderful. She just talked to a room of girls yesterday about what a doula was. And that's big, right? So part of it's just education, for sure. Just educating about what a doula is and the value of it. And then from there, a lot of it from there is just having those one-on-one conversations with our clients and our network and our community and our family and our friends. Then from there, we see a whole bunch of other opportunities that we can connect with. Oh, I love that, coming of age sessions. Oh, I love that. Awesome. Love it. Yeah, this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Just figure out what is it that you want to do with your career, your journey, and then definitely you don't have to just limit, we don't have to limit ourselves, right? We don't have to limit our scope. Awesome. So let me share also, scoot down a little bit, that there are some trainings that I'm offer just to our community for now. One is the Child Preparation Advisor course certification, and it's through Blooming Mama Wellness Institute, so my nonprofit, my organization, and it does just that, right? So it helps you as a doula, as a birth worker, be able to help families in more than what I talk about, those traditional roles, right? So in the birth, for example, one of the most difficult moments that I've had with, even personally, but then also with one of my clients, was trying to figure out childcare. And you think it's very, for those who haven't gone through that journey, for example, in the Washington, D.C. area, and this is before the pandemic, right? But in the Washington, D.C. area, there are some good providers that you have to be on a list for a year plus. Those waiting lists are over a year, right? A year and a half, 2 years. And so you would think that once you find out you're pregnant, okay, I will put my child in some sort of daycare, some sort of provider place for, you know, eventually. And so I will put myself on a list. If you wait until you're pregnant, depending on, and I'm talking about this particular area of DC where, you know, my office is and stuff like that. If you wait till then, that child's not going to get in until they're like 2 or 3 years old, right? And so then you're trying to figure, okay, so what are my criteria when it comes to either a nanny or do I want to do a nanny co-op or a nanny share? Do I want someone to come into the home? Do I want to, you know, have some go to a traditional daycare or nursery? So all of those questions and that interview process and then that vetting process and then the references can absolutely be daunting and can be overwhelming to a degree to the family, right? And so as a child care preparation advisor, those are one of the things that you would be equipped and empowered to be able to assist the families with that. And then, you know, something as simple as eating, right? And so I can't tell you how many families have said they pull their hair out because the toddler's not eating, right? And then you figure, okay, what meals to eat, and then how can it still be healthy? How can it still be convenient? So all of those different pieces that we don't think of as traditional ways within the birth worker world and our roles, those gaps are real. Those gaps can cause stress to families. So as a child preparation advisor, certified child preparation advisor, you are equipped in different ways with different tools and knowledge and resources that can help with the families in those, fill in those gaps. And that's a offering that we have now virtually. If anyone's interested, choose an email, can definitely sign you up for that. I think somebody had a question. But that goes along to just, you know, what we're talking about as to how, you know, it's just a lot of gaps, right? It's a transition. It's not just a transition from the hospital room, right, home. It's a transition in our lifestyle, right? It's a transition with finances. So even as a child preparation advisor, I've had clients that say, you know, I'm not going back to work. I'm home, it's a pandemic, I'm comfortable being home. I'm not going back to the office. So I need to find another way to have income or transition home so I can stay home and work. So those are the types of things that we help with. Okay, so a couple questions. Jasmine, you said, is it online? The preparation advisor course, that is online. That's the one you're asking about. Jerry, you said a photography course. Would like me to watch birth videos. Oh, cool. Yep. Yep. And that's a big thing, right, with technology, right? There's a way to make everything accessible. You just have to figure out what works for you, right? For example, I like on-demand courses. I prefer the ones that I can watch them at 3 o'clock in the morning if I want to, right? So I was up last night, what, 2:30 or so, talking to one of my coaching clients, and then I had another client who just had a baby, and so 3 o'clock this morning I was up and I needed to stay alert and awake, and so I was like, let me go in and do one of my training videos. I prefer that. That's the type of virtual training that I like, where I can do it at any hour. Then there's others I like to do training at a set time. And so when you're there with technology, there's so many different options, but again, figure out what works best for you. Figure out what works best for you. I should say you can get the ones you can keep or send back. Oh, for the dolls, you can do the ones that you can keep or sterilization. Yeah. Jasmine, you said have a big gap in practice related to this. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? If we just take our time, and maybe we'll do a session on that, just about road mapping, our journey as a career, like what we want, and then we can see so many different areas that we can fill in as doulas and as birth workers. And I really can say for myself and for a lot of my clients, like I haven't had a drop in income or clients or anything like that, because I've always preached on this, is to be diverse anyway, because I just think there's so many needs that families have, that if we can make sure that we're diverse, we can always, your calendar is always full. That's the way that I've seen it and have experienced it. And just being aware of those gaps and being able to articulate to families what those gaps are and how you can assist with that, it's a win-win. It's definitely a win-win. Okay, Jasmine, is there a link to learn more? Yeah, so if you, I'll put a link in the Facebook, and then also if you just go to bloomingmountainwellness.com, there's some information there, but I'll also send it out via email. Awesome, CPR. Oh, Jasmine's like, what's the doll? What y'all talking about, the doll? Yeah, CPR dolls. Love it, love it. Awesome. And then also, like we talked about the CPR, one of our own, Tasha, is doing CPR courses also, but Doulas services. If you're interested in that, reach out to her. She can help you do that if you're in the Washington, D.C. area. And then I also wanted to just share again about the culture and the values. A big part of the training, again, is to know who you are, know who your client is, and knowing how you can best communicate and help them and relate to them. And a big part of that is understanding culture, right? And understanding diversity. And so next month, we're going to offer a mini workshop on cultural celebrations and sensitivity for doulas. I've gotten more than one email from a doula that says, I've heard about these disparities when it comes to, Black women and minority women and healthcare in general, but then around birth, but she's like, I don't really know, I don't understand it all. I'm not connecting, and I want to be able to help my clients. And so that I appreciate, her reaching out in that regards to make sure she's best equipped and empowered as a doula to be able to assist her clients the best way that she can. And so those are the types of things that we'll talk about in this mini workshop, just to figure out how you can make sure that you are always prepared and aware of the different experiences that your clients may have and how that can relate to trauma and access to opportunities and everything else, and how you can help position yourself to be of assistance in that. So that'll be a mini workshop next month. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Okay. We do that for serving Muslim women. Yeah, Aisha, exactly. Whether it's because of religion or other things culturally, I know I have quite a few clients that are of Asian descent, and they're just cultural. Understanding the roles and hierarchy within families and things like that. That impacts. For example, I know I've had one client that if grandmama wasn't for it, oh, honey, you could talk to absolutely everybody in the household if you wanted to, but grandma made the decisions, okay? She made the decisions to the color of the walls in the nursery, okay? And so that's fine. I needed to know their culture, and I needed to know, because she was considered the go-to, right? She's the matriarch of the family. She was a go-to. So anything related to the family, to the kids, to the health of the family, to the options that the birthing mom was going to select, she was considered the rock of that family. And I needed to honor that. I needed to understand that. And part of it was attention to their family, right? But a part of it was to be a part of their culture. And so as a doula, who am I to come in and be like, wait, I want to talk to this person. I'm used to talking to this person. No, we need to be sensitive to that and be aware of that. So that's exactly a great example. Awesome. All right. And so are there any, we talked about the birth and we talked about coming of age, but are there any other training suggestions that we think as a community we need to be aware of and share, or any resources? Please do put them in the chat. We talked about the CPR, the Posh Doula services, but are there any others that you're aware of, that you know, that you like, or any training that you offer yourself? Put it in the chat, let us know, and put it in Facebook as well. So then that way we can help each other, serve each other, and make sure that we look to each other, right, for resources. Awesome. Okay, perfect. I should put that down there, link. Awesome. Oh, Saturday, so Ancient Song. Oh, I love that. Ancient Song Doula Services in Brooklyn. Okay, great, great. They're pretty awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Saturday. Awesome. And so I would just remind folks that if there's a lofty price tag for your trainings, don't fret, reach out to them. You never know what kind of specials they have. You never know what kind of discounts they may have, or scholarships. Even with us, with Blooming Mama Wellness Institute, I want to share. So the shirt that I have on, right? This is one of our new ones. It says Doula Squad. We have shirts, we have hats, right? We have even masks, face masks. All of this, for every single sale, a big portion of it goes to a scholarship fund that helps doulas, birth workers, midwife assistants, whoever you are along your journey, as long as it's, maternal health journey, birth worker journey, a portion of it goes to helping you achieve that dream. And so just wanted to share, if anybody wanted a sweatshirt, we have a new sweatshirt, Doula Squad sweatshirt with the hat. So you never know, right? So I just say, when we talk about this training, reach out. You never know what's available to you. There's a couple of doulas that said, oh, I didn't know, like even in my coaching that I offer, yeah, we have discounts depending on what it is that you are trying to achieve. And one of the ways that we do that is selling these wonderful gear. So you can, anytime you buy, you are contributing to helping a birth worker. So just wanted to share that and just remind folks, don't give up. There's always, where there is a will, there is a way, y'all. And so with that, we'll be talking next week. It'll be a pre-recorded chat in Facebook. Hopefully everything will be situated in Facebook so you can see it easily. But look also onto YouTube, because we're going to put the videos there as well as reference. And I'll probably put a link to the one sheet about the different training opportunities there as well. So between Instagram, y'all, Facebook, and YouTube, you can find us. Our community is there. You can find us, okay? So we will meet next week. I think there's someone that has something else in the chat. Let me. Jerry said you wish you lived to the dolls. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, Karen, I'm so glad you're able to join us. So that's one of the things, the reason why, and I know scheduling, so we do these live on a lot of Fridays, but I think we're gonna go to more recording for quite a few of them, just because everybody's schedule is different. And just being totally transparent and honest, I can't tell you how many chats we've had where my eyes are so tired because I was just at a birth and I literally signed on my computer at 11:30 for 12 o'clock, right? And so it is hard to do the 12, but so that's why I think we're going to do a lot more of the recorded videos so people can watch them at whatever time. We as birth workers, we don't sleep anyway, so we're up so we can watch it at any time later. Let me see, I think we have one more comment in the chat, y'all. And reach out to me. Like I said, you can always, for anything and everything, if you have a question about it, you can always just reach out via email, bloomingmamawellness.com, or the website. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Thank you all. I'm so glad you're able to join. Awesome. All right. Well, with that, I'm not going to hold anybody unless anybody had any other questions or comments that we needed to chat about or recommendations. All right. Okay. Well, if not, then I say happy Friday, love and light to everybody. Don't forget to look up some of the trainings, do your roadmap, figure out what gaps you may have, find training that works for you. Reach out to us if you need anything. Send in love and light. See y'all next week.